Hi everyone, this is Erin with Ariengabriella. How are you doing today? I have had kind of a long absence. Mostly, it was really unintentional. I just found myself kind of plunging over the cliff, kind of into the depths of hell, like kind of going back into somehow like 3D life. I guess I had some old trauma to kind of clear out, some old issues. So I've been dealing with that for the last 3 weeks. It's been like a crazy, hectic time, just a lot of old stuff, old kind of painful emotions, especially around my work and my work life that have been coming up and making it a little bit difficult for me to have like the extra time and the extra energy to kind of put forth these messages. But thankfully, I think that time, it's like I'm in this transitionary phase, as we all are. So parts of my old life are ending and new parts are beginning, and I'm kind of just oscillating like in between the two, as I'm sure everyone is in their own way. So this time at the end of May, I just finished up like a major energetic period that I don't think will be repeating, which is great because that frees me up completely to dedicate myself fully to my business and these videos as well. It also goes really well into the energy of this kind of new moon. I know, like, I'm recording this today on Memorial Day, May 25th, 2020, and from the moment the new moon hit in Gemini, I think it was like on the 22nd, I have felt a noticeable shift in the energies. It really just feels like a go, 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 like get out there, get moving kind of an energy. And I encourage you guys as well, if there's anything that you've been taking the time to try to decide on that you're not quite sure about, that you're not sure if that you can get off the ground, the energies that are going on right now are just go, 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 like do it, just follow your heart and go out there and kick butt. So I encourage all of you to do that in your own way, in your own time. For me, I'm just a couple weeks out. I finally finished my certification, which is great because I had my certification kind of overlapping with this business and like my day job, which I'm holding on to for now. And I feel I finally got my certification, so that's been like hours freed up. So yeah, there's a lot of happy endings, but endings nonetheless. And they're going to continue, through for quite some time. And I'm excited for these new beginnings. But I do have a message that I wanted to bring. It is one that I got a couple weeks ago, and I've been wanting to tell you guys about it, but I've been so exhausted. Like even this weekend, I'm still exhausted. I've just slept through somehow this entire like 3-day weekend. I just want to come and give you this message that you can have it, and that'll hopefully will help you in these times that I think you're going to be easing up, depending on your timeline. I mean, I think we're going to have ebbs and flows, but I think from what I'm seeing, if you're on the timeline that I'm on, like the worst is already past, and like anything that may come now is not quite at the level that it was before, or at least like people can kind of see through it and see the illusion kind of for what it is, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this video that I am doing is to talk to you guys about the power of gratitude. So gratitude, in my opinion, is one of the kind of like big 3 states of consciousness that have the most powerful transmutative effect. And I love to talk about emotional alchemy. So the 3 big ones for me, these are all, of course, love-based vibrations, because at the end of the day, it's like there's only love or fear. So everything I talk about is love, but within that sphere, like different states of like love-based emotions that you could have. Like from personally speaking, I think the biggest 3 are like gratitude, hope, and forgiveness. So today I'm going to talk to you about the power of gratitude. This is going to be important always, but especially now, because as we know, like the world, well, if you haven't known, I'm going to tell you now, the world has changed forever. this, you know, these changes that we're having on the world stage are permanent changes that are happening because something new needs to come in. You know, I would definitely not, my advice would be to not say that things are going to ever go back to normal, but that they're going to go into a new version of normal. And what's exciting about that is that we get to decide what that new normal looks like, because we'll be co-creating with the universe, right? So we'll be able to have this kind of higher, better, new earth timeline and frequency that will attract love, joy, and bliss. Gratitude will help you stay in that frequency once the time comes, because we're gradually kind of ticking up. We're kind of just like going like this, gradually getting there, step by step, and taking as many people as we can with us, which is why we're kind of having this great awakening. But gratitude is a powerful form of emotional alchemy that will help you learn how to transmute any type of negative energy, to help you get to that higher plane of love and bliss more quickly. And in the event that you happen to be kind of knocked out of it, because it's natural for, sometimes you have to go low to go high, right? So sometimes you, regardless of how ascended you become, you will have periods of sadness, negativity or fear, some kind of fear-based emotions. That when you have like gratitude in your arsenal and you know how to execute kind of at will, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to see the lesson in everything, number one, and you're going to be able to attract that love, that joy, and that bliss, because you will understand how to transmute that negativity. So let me just talk a little bit about the specific ways that gratitude is helpful, the ways that it's useful, and why it's amazing. I specifically want to hammer this point first because I see a lot of ungratefulness in the world. Like, maybe Twitter is not the best, not the best gauge for that, but I just feel like I'm seeing so many hashtags with people saying like, oh, like the earth sucks, or, you know, I don't want to be on earth anymore, this nonsense. Like, I saw a hashtag a few weeks ago that was like hashtag why we should leave earth, which I don't understand what timeline you have to be on. I mean, like, I understand, like, maybe if you don't understand that there's actually something to this madness that we're seeing now, how that could be scary. But I'm here to reassure you that, you know, 2020 is just a year of transition into a higher plane, but it's also a year that will give you exactly what you want and exactly what you believe. So if you really believe that the world is coming to an end in a negative way, like, you're gonna manifest that like faster and more viscerally than maybe you ever have. But I'm here to reassure you that you can choose for your timeline, or your potential that you're kind of going on, can be one where the world as we know it ends, but then the better world begins. Okay, because basically what's happening, I'm not sure if I've ever explained this, but we're kind of getting to kind of like a splitting of the worlds. I think Dolores Cannon described it as the new earth, where she literally said that the earth is going to split in half, and it's going to exist in two places. There's going to be a lower 3-dimensional earth and a higher 5th-dimensional earth. And that is true, but I don't know, I don't know if we're actually literally going to have two physical planets, or if we're just going to have two different timelines, or two different like planes of being, or like two different laws of attraction. One is highly negative and one is highly positive. So the actual splitting is a real thing, but I don't know if we're like physically going to have two earths, or if that's just metaphor, to be honest. Like, the longer I go into it, the more I just feel like it's metaphor. But we are going into two earths. Alrighty. So yeah, sorry, my camera died there, but basically, yeah, the two words split. So we are gonna have two worlds, and really what that is looking like right now is we are having some people who have just a vastly different perspective of what's going on this planet, and there almost seems to be like no one in the middle. It's like the people, they're convinced that, the world is coming to an end. They're convinced that, you know, evil is everywhere. Coronavirus is going to, I'll have to edit that out maybe, because I just don't want, I hear that the video has a tendency to get banned if you mention the name of the bug. But, the bug is going to come and kill us all and blah, 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 blah. And then you have people who are like more like me, which is like, yeah, I mean, things may be bad, but everything's great. Like, life is really good. Like, this quarantine has been one of the more fulfilling times of my entire life. And I've learned so much and become in touch with myself. And it's so like vast. It's like, you love it or you hate it. It's great or it's not great, blah, blah, blah. So that splitting of the world is going to happen. You can take a personal assessment to figure out what side you're on. But if you find yourself kind of taking a look at the world and feeling like you have no hope and feeling like things are coming to an end, just understand that all you have to do is shift your perspective, and you will absolutely see the world in a totally different light, even now with the stuff that we're going through. And you can choose like happiness and bliss, because it is a choice. And when you utilize tools like gratitude, it'll make it easier for you to see that. So let's jump in. I've teased it quite a bit. Let's actually start talking about it. So gratitude. Why is gratitude useful? Gratitude is useful because it helps us remember that everything that happens to us because it offers us the potential to grow. Okay? Our purpose, everyone might have many different purposes for being on the planet, but everyone does have one central goal, which is ascension. Like, a lot of people say, like, what is my purpose? Da 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 da. And like, it's possible to have several different purposes. Like, maybe you have like a purpose for your life's work or your purpose for romance, but generally speaking, like, everyone's purpose in life is in this life is to ascend. That's your purpose in life, is to grow spiritually and ascend. How you do that is your soul's unique choice. And, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you that ultimately your goal is to ascend. So everything that happens to you in your life is designed to trigger that ascension, even the bad stuff, okay? Seriously. So what gratitude does is it helps remind you of that. When you are in a place of gratitude, especially when it comes to negative events, it forces you to focus on the lessons as opposed to the pain, which is really the ultimate goal. Like, the pain is kind of there to trigger a desire to move away from that pain and towards light. But the lesson is what's going to stay with your soul long after death, into the next lifetime and beyond. So that is one way that gratitude can really, really help us. It just helps us understand, like, what did I learn? Why did this happen? Was there an aspect of, well, there always is, but what part of my being on a physical level, on an energetic level, on a mental level, is unhealed, that attracted this event into my life to make me aware of the fact that this section needed healing. It's very, very important to that, because once you're aware of what you need to heal, then you can actually heal it. But without some of the more challenging experiences that we go through in our life, it can help keep people in a state of like ignorance, or in a lack of awareness of what they need to be able to grow, which ultimately stunts their growth. So, I mean, these kind of negative events that you may be experiencing are here to help move you into something better, to help you grow and to help you learn, so that you can turn around and teach others. So that's one way that gratitude is extremely beneficial. Another aspect of gratitude, besides that kind of reflective aspect, like kind of like the what did we learn kind of student aspect, is it obviously does have a love-based aspect, right? When you in gratitude, you have an appreciation and an acceptance for the people, the places, and the things that may have resulted in your that may have caused you both to feel good and to feel bad, right? Because I'm focusing more of using gratitude to transmute negativity because I like to focus on emotional alchemy, but obviously it's also very important to have gratitude for the things in your life that you may consider very mundane. Like for example, if you're like a healthy person, it's easy to take that health for granted until you get sick, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, all I want to do is go back to the way I was. And then once, if you ever go back to the way that you were, or even get somewhere close to that space, you feel tremendous, you feel great. You're just like, wow, I didn't realize how important my health was and how much it meant to me until it was gone, kind of thing. And when you're in gratitude, like sometimes you have to lose to gain. So gratitude can just help you remember to show love for the circumstances, the places, and the people that are in your life. Yeah. Hopefully I'm making sense. So yes, gratitude, just another point here, forces us to show love for all things. And because it is a love-based energy by its very nature, it has a transmutative effect. Okay. Another really important thing about gratitude is that it helps us claim our power. Because again, like when you have an awareness of the things the aspects of yourself that may invite in circumstances or situations that you may not want, now you have the power to fix it. And once you have the power to fix it, you have the power to make sure that it never happens again. So you're growing and you're co-creating. Because if you say like, I want this, I don't want that, or I'm grateful for my health, I want more of my health. I'm grateful for the sickness for teaching me to love and respect my health, but I don't want any more of that sickness. You automatically become like a co-creator. And that is the highest form of creation that exists in this universe, is for you to be working with the natural kind of universal energies to create a world that makes sense for you personally, internally, because at the end of the day, it will do the same. You'll be able to manifest that without as well, right? So like if you can figure it out within, then it will naturally happen without. And if enough people do that, then what you're going to do is you're going to create entire communities of people who are creating nothing but love and gratitude. And then you're automatically going to see some of these things, like the politics change, like the healthcare system change, the educational system change. It's because like every individual is doing their internal work and manifesting it outward as well. So gratitude absolutely helps you do that. Another thing that gratitude does is it helps put us back into a state of alignment. The state of alignment necessary to manifest. So this kind of goes off of my co-creation point. Because in order to co-create, you really have to kind of be at like a 0 point or very close to 0 point. Maybe I'll explain later what that is. But 0 point is kind of like the ultimate power position in the sort, like in the middle of all, like, it's not really the middle of all energies, but it's kind of the vantage point at which you can control the energy and the way that it flows in a conscious way. Like that's really what 0 point is. And when you're in a state of gratitude, it helps put you, because you're going into love, into alignment with the energies that'll help give you that vantage point and help you kind of be a master co-creator. Cool. So that was kind of the gist of why gratitude, why it works and why it's useful. Now I want to go into just a couple of tips about how you can make sure that gratitude is something that you're bringing into your life. Ultimately, it is a practice. So you do kind of have to a certain extent, kind of figure out your own way forward. But I can definitely give you some tips how to do it in a way that will be maximally beneficial for you. So kind of the biggest tip that I have and the main point I want to drive forward is that a lot of times people, when you're doing this, you're naturally not in gratitude, but just, I would add this at the end as a state of just like awareness, is that a lot of people kind of operate under the assumption that they have to dislike something in order to justify wanting something new. This can be a major block to gratitude, because gratitude by its very nature is accepting and allowing of the way things are right now, even if it isn't great, right? Because we're focusing on that lessons and that love. So like example, like for me, my apartment, like I have an apartment, it's a nice apartment. I'm ready to move. And I used to kind of sort of interact with some neighbors around here who were also ready to move. But instead of just being like, yeah, I'm ready to move now, they'd shit on the apartment. They'd just be like, oh, it's like such a terrible place and da da da. It's really, no, it's not a terrible place. It's a nice place. Can it be better? Yeah, but it's not a bad place at all. It's a really nice area. It's just, I'm finding quickly that it's not a place where I personally like want to be anymore, because I don't feel like it's a place where I've grown as much as I can, and now I'm just ready to go. So am I going to like shit on it? No. I mean, I've complained in the past, sure, but at the end of the day, like I want to move because I just decided that's what's better for me, not because there's anything wrong with the apartment like that I'm in. So I have an affirmation for you that may help you get out of that kind of like, oh, I have to hate you. I have to not like you to get something better, and just say that like, there's nothing wrong with me or where I am. I only want what's in my highest good. So I just kind of came up with that on the fly. So if you kind of find yourself trying to move away, like even if it's a relationship, people do this a lot. Like I've had ex-friends who, in the relationship, because they're convinced that I'm an XYZ type of person, they just don't like that. At the end of the day, like there's nothing wrong with who I am as a human being. If I'm not compatible with you, that's totally fine. But like you could just say that. Like you could just say like, I love and accept the parts of you that I'm able to love and accept. I'm not able to have gratitude for all parts of you, and for that reason, the relationship like has to end. That would be much more adult than just being like, oh, like you have these personality traits that I really don't like. That's just immature. So again, like operating out of gratitude in those situations as well, where you can take a look at your relationships and just being like, I respect what you've taught me, but I have to go now, would be a great way to kind of tackle that. Another affirmation that you could have, if you didn't like the first one I threw at you, is I'm grateful for this experience and I'm ready to move on to something better. There's another one. It's a way to just avoid complaining, because complaining doesn't help anyone. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I think those are my thoughts on gratitude as it stands today. So if you would like an additional practice, I would start by focusing. It's easier to focus on the things that you may not remember that maybe it's a good idea to be grateful for, than go straight for the negative stuff. So I would definitely start by taking stock of the things that you really love about your life. Just make a little list of the things that you love about your life, and how they help you, how they nourish you, and from there, just stop and say, I love you and I'm grateful to you for teaching me XYZ or for giving me XYZ. And then repeat the same exercise with things. Try to be creative with things that maybe you normally wouldn't think of. Like, I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for that I can afford a nice meal. I'm grateful for my plants I have a couple of bamboo plants, which are great because they help keep the air pure, and I really am grateful for them. You know, are you grateful for, let's try to get creative, like grateful for the rain. You know, people complain about the rainy weather, but without the rainy weather, like how would we ever have like beautiful vegetation, you know? So next time you have to go out in the rain, just feel like, I'm so grateful for the rain. Like look at these beautiful trees and these plants that this rain is nurturing, stuff like that. Just get creative. And then from there, go into the heavier stuff, like, you know, that your worst enemy, you know, what have they taught you? How can you be grateful to them? Doesn't mean you have to condone what they've done. It just means that you understand the lesson that they were trying to teach. And once you understand the lesson, that is how you make sure that the lesson doesn't repeat and you don't end up, you know, constantly in cycles of misery that you don't need to be in because you're not practicing these tips. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm probably going to go back to sleep like I've been doing for the past 3 days. And I will be back. I hope to be back like next week, but I might not, but definitely by like mid-June. I'll be back on a regular schedule of posting videos like at least weekly, but I might be a little spotty for the next like a week or so. But thank you so much to all my subscribers. My name is Erin with Ariengabriella. Launching in a couple weeks, which feels amazing. You can go to my website, ariengabriella.com, get on my mailing list. You can find me on Facebook. I'm very active on Instagram, always on Insta. So I post inspirational messages. So you can find me there. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. Love you. Bye.